If you are an international student studying in Australia, it's important to understand the tax requirements. Hello and welcome to EduTrainX, one of the best online platforms for PTE preparation. I am Nandini Vats, and today I'll be giving you all the information you need to know before doing your taxes in Australia as an international student. So let's get started. First thing first, the common question that is asked by most of the international students is if they can do business in Australia. So yes, you can definitely do business. How and why? Well, for that, you can watch my video exclusively made on this topic. The link I'll put in the description below. Then comes the doubt about paying taxes, whether international students have to pay taxes on their income in Australia. Then the answer to that is also yes, you'll have to pay taxes on the income you earn in Australia. The amount of tax will depend on your residency status for tax purposes. Also, there are different tax rates for residents and non-residents in Australia. Non-residents pay a flat rate of 32.5% on all their income without any tax-free threshold. Residents, on the other hand, have a tax-free threshold of Rs 18,200 and pay a lower rate of 19% for income between $18,200 and $37,000. Now, what if you earn less than $18,200 in a year as an international student? Now, in such a case, no tax will be withheld from your income. You should provide a non-lodgement advice to the ATO, which will inform them that you will not be filing a tax return and will prevent you from any kind of penalties for not filing a return when not required. Next, students ask if they need to lodge a tax return. Now, this depends on your personal circumstances. If you are considered Australian resident for tax purposes and earn less than $18,200, you may need to lodge a tax return. However, non-residents and residents who earn more than $18,200 must file a tax return. A tax refund will allow you to claim back any excess tax they have paid during the year. The purpose of filing for a tax return is to ensure that you only pay the correct amount of tax and not more than necessary. To file tax returns in Australia, you have two options. Either you do it yourself or use a registered tax agent in Australia. However, it is better to use an agent because they can help you ensure that your return is accurate, and they will also include if there will be any eligible deductions. The Australian government allows you to claim the cost of using an agent on your next year's tax return. Now, you can find information about registered agents on the Tax Practitioners Board's website. So just now I mentioned about the residents and non-residents. So what actually is the difference between the two for tax purposes? See, if you are an international student studying in Australia for more than 6 months, then you may be considered resident for tax purposes. Residents pay taxes at the same rate as other Australian residents. You may benefit from the tax-free threshold and generally pay lower tax rates, while non-residents, including those studying for less than 6 months, have different tax obligations. Now, the next query that comes up is that should international students include their foreign income on their tax return? See, international students on temporary student visas generally only need to include income earned in Australia on their tax return, whereas the Australian residents must declare and pay tax on all their worldwide income. Talking about the documents needed to file a student tax return, then for that, you need end-of-year summaries from employers, expense details, invoices, dividend slips, tax file number, proof of Australian address, and photo ID. And this filing for tax returns for the previous year can be filed starting from July 1st, with the deadline generally on October 31st of each year. The Australian tax year runs from July 1st to June 30. So for expenses as an international student, you can include work-related expenses, education expenses related to your work, and other allowable deductions on your tax return. Do keep receipts and invoices to support these claims. Remember, these guide provides general information and it's always best to consult with the professionals or use a trusted tax service for personalized advice regarding for your specific tax situation. One of the great things about studying in a foreign country is that you learn to manage your own finances. It may seem difficult at first, but it's not as hard as it seems. The more you go through the process and face the challenges like paying taxes and filing tax returns, the better you become at handling them. So as a student, understanding these systems give you a wider perspective and knowledge that you may not have gained in your own home country. So that was all about doing your taxes in Australia as an international student. Stay tuned for more regular updates like this. I'll see you in my next video. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.